The Heart's Desire and Legendary Tavern events are probably some of the best free-to-play ways of earning a nice amount of gold heads without spending money, without doing Mightiest Governor or Wheel of Fortune. You can almost guarantee some form of value from both of these events. So today, I will be discussing the Legendary Tavern and Heart's Desire. I will discuss how they actually work, how to earn the keys to use them. I will also discuss the differences between both the events and the value of each one for different players. And finally, I will discuss an issue that is really plaguing both of these events that hopefully Lilith can fix, and I will give a suggestion to actually improve both of these events and make them meta once again. So if you want to know more about the Legendary Tavern and also about the Heart's Desire event, you definitely want to check out the rest of the video. Let's begin by discussing how the Legendary Tavern works, and the first thing to note is when you actually unlock it. The Legendary Tavern, to my knowledge, is unlocked when you hit Season 3. So once you hit that Season 3, probably the preparation season, you will actually unlock it in your tavern regardless of the tavern level. Even if you make a brand new farm account tavern level 1, you will get access to the legendary chest. And every single day, you will get access to one free open of this chest, which will give you some amount of rewards, whether it be speed ups, gold stars, or commander sculptures, which is what most people are looking for. Whenever we're doing this event, you want those commander sculptures. Yes, the speed ups and the resources and the stars and all that are nice. Like, I never ever complain about getting literally free stuff for logging in, but they're not the main part of this event. The main part of this event is getting either a full commander. For example, you can get a full Attila, or it's getting just one sculpture for a commander that you're working towards, because every sculpture counts. Like, if you think of it, every sculpture is 2,000 gems. So whenever you pull a commander, it's, for example, like getting 2,000 gems. For example, this account right here, I got a Saladin on it, and he's currently on, like, my city garrison for my farm. So these commanders, which you get literally for free, are the main reason Legendary Tavern is really good. The next thing to note about the Legendary Tavern is after you open 200 chests, you get to choose a guaranteed 10 Legendary Commander Sculptures for any commander of your choosing. So you are guaranteed some form of value in this event. And for example, let's say I was trying to get Nebuchadnezzar and I logged in for 200 days. I know that's quite a while, but let's say I just logged in, I didn't use any of my tavern keys on this event. I'd be guaranteed to get one full Nebuchadnezzar. Instead of doing Mightiest Governor or buying him, I get him for free. And if I'm working towards, for example, expertising Nebu, it's nice to get an extra 10 free gold heads, which I wouldn't have had. That is like 20,000 gems worth of value for just using A, some of these legendary keys, which I'll discuss how to get, or B, by just logging in for 200 days and opening this chest literally for free. The next thing to note is for every single 10 opens you do on the chest, you are guaranteed at least one legendary commander sculpture. You don't get to choose which one it is, it's just a guaranteed sculpture. And every day you can open a maximum of 2,000 chests. So if you're a mega whale and you buy the actual keys, so I think it's 2 million gems for that price, 200,000 gems, not 100% sure. It is a lot of gems for that, and you are looking at spending ridiculous amounts of money to get probably 100 commander sculptures. So most players don't gem the event. I just don't recommend doing that, but it is really easy to access these keys for free. And if you do have all the commanders max leveled in here, let's say you've expertised every single one, there's actually a shop available. Whenever you get a commander that you already have, you get some amount of these currency, these legendary tavern like coins, I guess, and you can choose to buy anything in this shop. I think every single time you get one sculpture for a commander, you get like 50 of these coins. So if you get 2 sculptures for a commander you already own, you get 5 generic legendary commander sculptures, which can actually be a strategy. For example, my main has an expertise Cyrus, and if I got 200 spins and I didn't want anything out of the chest, I could just get that expertise Cyrus, and with that, I could get myself 5 guaranteed generic legendary commander sculptures that can go to any commander. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the Legendary Tavern. If you've maxed out most, if not all the commanders in here, you'll get a lot of this currency, which you can use in the shop, especially for those legendary commander sculptures, and this shop will refresh every 50 or so days. Now, the other version of the Legendary Tavern is the Heart's Desire event, and this one isn't around all the time like the Legendary Tavern is. This will be available all the time, but Heart's Desire will only come around for around 4 days after your Ruined Crusader Fortress is captured. I think it's like 2 or 3 days after that triggers. So once this happens, you still have to be in Season 3. You get access to use your legendary keys, which could also be used in the Legendary Tavern, on any commander in here. So you can select, we have to select 5 commanders of your choice. They can be different troop types. I just have all archers selected because I am an archer main. You now have the option to switch them around, by the way. Before you couldn't do that, but that has been changed. And this means that you can basically focus in a little bit more on the commanders you actually want. So instead of having an option between like 30 or something commanders, I don't know the exact number that are in here, you can be guaranteed to get within 5 commanders that you are somewhat working on, which means if you do spend your keys in here and you don't have as many maxed out legendary commanders, you can work towards multiple commanders at once, or at least have a higher chance of getting sculptures for a commander you are actually working towards. This event does give the exact same items as the Legendary Tavern. The only difference is, like I said before, you can pretty much choose which commanders are available in the chest, so it does make it much more preferable for players who don't have all the commanders maxed. The main disadvantage with Heart's Desire is if you get a commander you've already expertise. So for example, you can see I have Cyrus on. If I pulled a Cyrus Sculpture, in return I just get 1 key for either the Legendary Tavern or the Heart's Desire event back. I don't get access to any special currency which I can use to buy gold heads as I do in the Legendary Tavern itself. So that's the real big disadvantage with the Heart's Desire event. Otherwise it'd be like smack bang easy best value for every player. But due to the fact that you can't get that currency which you can spend on anything, it is a little bit worse for players who have a lot of commanders maxed. Now, which event should you choose depending on your account? Well, I think for most players, Heart's Desire is going to be the better version, unless you have a lot of the commanders expertise. So if you're a normal account, you don't have a ton of these commanders expertise, and you are working towards maybe at least 2 or 3 of the commanders available in this event, then you just select those commanders and you just do the event. Just open all your keys, save them all up for this one event during your KVK and use them all here. If you have a ton of the commanders maxed though, probably at least 70 or so percent, use all your keys on the Legendary Tavern chest itself, because you're going to have the chance of getting yourself generic commander sculptures and speed ups, and also I think there's resources, and also there's a chance to get more souvenir keys. I personally recommend saving these legendary marks for the shop reset and then buying all the commander sculptures again if you do have too many of them. But most players will find that you don't have an overabundance of these, and you'll probably have just enough to buy maybe 20 or so sculptures if you've maxed out most of the commanders in this chest. So if you have a ton of these commanders expertise, not recruited, like fully expertise, then you can consider doing this event over the Legendary Tavern. It'd become much more value because you can get generic commander sculptures which go to any commander of your choice. But if you don't have a lot of the commander's expertise and you're working towards a bunch of different ones, then the Heart's Desire is definitely the most value. Also, quickly, let's discuss how you get the keys to the Legendary Tavern and Heart's Desire. The main ways you get them are really through either bundles in the shop. You can purchase them there. I think at the start of your KVK, there is a bundle that will come around. Here it is. The Flame of War, Season of Conquest. You're pretty much guaranteed to get some amount of Sovereign Keys, which you use in the Legendary Tavern or the Heart's Desire event. So you can purchase this bundle. I think there might be another bundle out there. I don't know exactly which one. Yeah, here it is. Legendary Warriors. This is the other bundle that gives you more Sovereign Keys, but those are really the main ways to get Sovereign Keys. The other methods are, the free-to-play methods at least, are through events that will come around every now and again. You will notice there's a training event that comes around. It's like train 6,000 troops or something, and you get 5 of these in total. So that's a really, really good event. I'd recommend speeding up your troops just to get one of those keys. And then also there's some other events such as the civilization-based events. I think one just came by, and you could use those as a method of getting keys as well. So every now and again you get events that will come by that will give you legendary keys. You might have some KVK events as well. I know a few Chronicles in the KVK also give you legendary keys, not Chronicles, sorry, like the Crusader achievements. You can see right here, killing barbarian troops. I got 1 free sovereign key. I keep calling legendary keys. And that's pretty much the main ways to get them. You'll have events that come around, you got your KVK stuff, and also a few bundles here and there. You can purchase them for straight out gems, 1,000 each, or in the VIP shop, I think they're like 600 or 700 each. But I don't recommend doing that. That's really, really low value. In the shop, they're 600 each. So don't buy them for gems, but for Mega Whales, that is an option if you're just trying to load yourself up with a bunch of max commanders. You could spend, I think it's around $15,000 to max a single commander out of this chest. So really, really bad value, but it is an option there if you are absolutely crazy and you've got tons of money to burn. So now that we've discussed the basics on the event, what is the actual problem which I said that needs to be addressed? And the problem is this event has been neglected. Let's be real. We have only seen one addition to this event in like the last 2 years, and that was Margaret, and that's because she is supposed to be technically an older commander but a newer commander. She's a little bit weird with the way she's been released. She's like a whole subcategory and niche on her own. So she is the only addition to this whole entire event in like the last 2 years, and no one actually cares about Margaret. I don't think a single player, when they said Margaret was coming to the Legendary Tavern, was like, oh my god, what? I'm going to go invest in her right away. Everyone was like, oh, it's just Margaret. That's great. But no one really cared. I don't think a single person has actually selected her in their Heart's Desire event. So The issue is they've been neglected. Look at the commanders in this event. They are super outdated. Like, I could probably name 10 commanders that are not good at all for most lower spender or free-to-play players. Moctezuma, YSS, Theodora, Edward, Tamaris is not good for lower spenders. I'm also going to say Ramses isn't. You've got commanders like Zenobia, Leonidas, Constantine, Alexander the Great. I've already listed 10. You've got commanders such as Takeda, Jadwiga. Also, Attila's not good for low spenders. Khan, Saladin. So you've just seen right there, I've pretty much listed every single commander available in the event as a not very good commander. And out of the commanders that are good, every single one is pretty much niche. Like, the only commander which I can recommend universally to most people is William. He's the only person in the whole entire event, and William is just super, super special, where he hasn't really seen a hit to his effectiveness in a very long time. So out of all the commanders available, there are probably 5 decent investments, and that's it. And out of those 5, 4 of them are really niche. They're like a 3rd or 4th possible march, and only one of them is truly good. So Lilith really should start adding more commanders, but I think that would be a little bit too basic for them just to start adding commanders. I think that they're definitely not going to do that. That would definitely hurt their profits. And the reason this event has been getting neglected is purely because of the Orotok Tavern, which is a KVK thing. The newer KVKs now have it. The Orotok Tavern allows you to get access to a bunch of the current meta commanders, and it's basically like the Legendary Tavern, but the only difference is you get meta commanders in this. You also have to pay gems. There's no other option but spending gems. But you get access to all the meta commanders. For example, you can choose ZHUGE and also Bing as your 2 commanders. You could pick maybe Tariq and Sargon if you so wanted. These are the meta of the meta, and they're available in this event, which you can spend gems on. And the reason Lilith doesn't want to put these commanders in the tavern, which I understand, is because they're too new to the game. If you add a commander to the game like these commanders, you want players to actually work their way up, either spend gems or spend their gold heads. You don't want them to get the commanders for free. I understand that from a business perspective, but what Lilith should do is all the commanders that are not in the Orotok Tavern should just be added to the Legendary Tavern. For example, Nevsky and also Bertrand will just taken out of the tavern because they have been outdated and replaced by the newer Cav commanders, because there are only 2 generations of each commander available here. That's what it really looks like. So what Lilith should do is just add Nevsky and Bertrand to the Legendary Tavern. I know 100,000% every single player would enjoy that addition. It means that everyone who wants to get Nevsky as a commander has access to maybe at least 10 extra commander sculptures from doing the Legendary or Heart's Desire event, which are really, really good. It's not like it's going to break the game in any way. We already had it before when, for example, Zhang Yu was meta, like he was inside the tavern. Everyone could get him. So why not just add all the commanders which currently are not inside of the Orotok Tavern into this tavern? So you could add maybe Boudica, because I don't think Boudica's in the Orotok Tavern. You could add Nevsky and Bertrand. You can add Armanatori and Gilgamesh, who for some reason were in the Orotok Tavern when it first released, were just recently removed. I'm just going to double check. Boudica is not in here. No, she's not. So you can add Boudica in there. You can add Scipio. So there's so many commanders you could straight up just add to the tavern, who currently the only way to really get them is either through Mightiest Governor, for example Henry, or through the Wheel of Fortune event. But they're also not available in the special offer. So they're in like this weird middle ground where they're extremely difficult to access as a free-to-play or a low spender, and the only way is through those lower value events such as the Wheel of Fortune or the Mightiest Governor. And the best way they could implement them effectively is put them in the legendary chest. So maybe some players can get an extra 10, 20 commander sculptures, or even unlock those commanders so they can actually choose to invest in them. And I think that would definitely give this event a nice hit to its effectiveness, because it's already a high value event that's really, really good to get commander sculptures. The only issue is that you couldn't get any good ones, and if they do add these commanders that are not in the Orotok Tavern, it would definitely solve this problem. Now, hopefully you enjoyed my perspectives on the Legendary Tavern and Heart's Desire event and what should really be changed. And if you did like it, consider joining the Archer Syndicate Discord, where you can message me and other like-minded Rise of Kingdom players, or at least I hope they're somewhat like-minded, or even you can argue against my point of view and say you're completely wrong, the event is perfectly fine as it is. If you want to join the Archer Syndicate Discord, the link will be in the description and the pinned comment. I highly recommend checking it out, and it's a nice way to get in contact with me and fellow members of the channel. Now, I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.